In our day-to-day interactions, we enter into different agreements and contracts. Some of these contracts will be enforceable and others will not. In today's edition of Legal Moments, we'll be looking at what types of contracts are valid and enforceable under the Ghanaian law. In order to determine whether or not a contract exists between people, one must be able to establish three things. 1. That there is an offer. 2. That offer has been accepted. And 3. That consideration or payment has been made. So you hire a carpenter to make a table for you. Both of you get into a discussion about the color of the table, the style, the amount of money that he will charge for the work, and the period of time it will take to complete the entire work. From this context, we can deduce that a contract has been triggered. It is important to note that a contract may be written, oral, or sometimes deduced from the actions or the conduct of the people involved. It is also important to note that in the course of making a contract, it is okay to have some negotiations and make modifications to the contract. However, the offer, the acceptance, and the consideration given must not be forced. It must be given freely. It is also important that by the time the contract is concluded, the parties involved are on the same page and have the same understanding as to what they intend to do. Now, who can you enter into a contract with under Ghanaian law? In Ghana, there are 3 categories of people that you must never and cannot have a contract with. 1. Infants and minors. 2. People who are mentally challenged. And 3. Drunk or intoxicated people. Should you take the risk to enter into a contract with any of these people, that contract can never be enforced. It will amaze you to note that in some circumstances, there would be a valid offer, an acceptance, and consideration. However, that contract may not be enforceable under Ghanaian law. This is because the law recognizes that in our domestic and social interactions, we are likely to make promises and enter into agreements which we have no intention to enforce should they be dishonored. This is why over the years, the courts have distinguished between social and domestic agreements and business and commercial agreements. Generally, when it comes to social and domestic agreements, there is no intention to create a legal relation. Therefore, they cannot be enforced should the party making the promise renege on that promise. However, if you are able to lead evidence in court to show that despite the fact that it was a social or domestic agreement, there was every intention to create a legal relation, you might just have your day in court. So for example, Baby Ya calls her brother Kwesi and says, "Kwesi, can you buy me wache on your way home? I promise I will iron your shirts for work the entire week." Kwesi agrees and shows up at home with delicious wache. However, Baby Ya does not keep her part of the promise after eating the wache. Under such a circumstance, will Kwesi be able to enforce this contract or agreement against Baby Ya? The law says generally no, unless Kwesi can lead evidence in court to show that when he entered into the contract with Baby Ya, there was every intention to create a legal relation, and he might just be able to have his day in court. Now, when it comes to business or commercial agreements, by their nature, there's every intention to create a legal relationship between the parties who enter into them. Therefore, should any of them dishonor a part or the entire agreement, the aggrieved person may actually have their day in court. So, in conclusion, we appreciate the fact that to be able to have a valid and an enforceable contract under Ghanaian law, 1. There must be an offer. 2. An acceptance of that offer. 3. consideration must be paid or given. 4. The persons involved in making that contract must have capacity to contract. And 5. There must be every intention to create a legal relation. Thank you for joining me today on Legal Moments. If you enjoyed the session, kindly give us a thumbs up and leave us a comment in the comment section. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Don't keep this channel to yourself. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and see you in our next episode.